Welcome back, welcome back. How do I have 3 likes with 2 viewers? One of y'all is sus. There we go. 3 for 3. Welcome to the streams, guys. Yeah, we'll be starting in approximately 12 minutes. 11 to 12 minutes. Should be a good session. Yo, Jack. How you doing, mate? Jack, you can hear me, right? Okay, you can. Fantastic. Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty busy week. I haven't been able to trade at all, right? I've been trading. I traded Monday. That's about it. And then yesterday, today, and tomorrow I can't trade at all. Like tomorrow, my day is 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. So I don't even know if I can stream tomorrow, to be honest. Yeah, it's just busy. Just a lot of stuff that's going on. Even today, I got back and then like it's just feeling like it's just I wish I could trade basically. No, I'm not sick at all. I'm completely fine. Just tired. Sick and tired of not being able to trade, man. The markets are moving and I'm just missing the moves, man. Yeah, when it's like actually my analysis and then like I miss moves, I'm like, bruh. But it's okay. I know like we'll be back tomorrow for more trading, so we good, we good. Not tomorrow, sorry, Friday. That's the next day I can actually trade, Friday. And then hopefully next Monday and then like parts of the week, the following week. But I don't know. How was your guys' day? How was your day, Jack? Haven't been on a stream for ages. I don't even know how you guys are doing. I feel like the delay has somehow gotten longer. I don't know how. Supposed to be ultra low latency already, but seems to be more than a 6-second delay, which is very interesting. Yeah, we're just going to be starting in a bit. Your week's going good? Yeah, man, that's... I mean, usually if you're having a good week, right, even if something bad happens, you end off like pretty, at least break even, right? So you're fine, man. Damn, the music's loud. Oh, fuck, that's no music. My week's actually going well, good so far, but let's not jinx it. That's right, you know, I can still understand it. Welcome, welcome everyone. We have 15 people, it's pretty good. Some boys on the Zoom as well. Yeah, I might have to quit the startup, Johnny. It's time. Thing is, like with the team we have, with like the startup stuff, it's so promising. Like, I think with the previous startup, we got funded like nearly like 140K. We got funded 140K from Kickstarter, which is like top 1% of like Kickstarters or whatever. And like the kind of skill set that we have within the team, like we're looking for multi-million funding, tens of millions, potentially hundreds of millions, to do something in software, AI, or whatever it is, right? Well, when that happens, you're not gonna see me on here anymore, guys. Yeah, realistically, I also don't know how long I'll stay here. Like, as like within DVS, I'll always stay, but as in like doing these breakdowns, you know, offering mentorship. I don't know, it's probably a limited edition sort of deal. What am I talking about? Just talking about like me being relatively busy this week and needing to free up time to actually do some trading. That's basically it. I'm not a programmer, no. I do a lot of other things though. No, I'm not trading for the capital. I'm trading to develop a skill so that in the case everything goes wrong, right? Like everything, right? I'm doing like 6 things at the moment, right? In case everything goes wrong, I can rely on trading, right? Who am I working on with on this project? It's like my co-founders. I have 3 co-founders who are basically my best friends. I live with 2 of them. Um, but we went on like our first startup was a Kickstarter startup, um, which launched in like 2021 or 2020. Yeah, 2021. And then like within a month, we got like 140K in terms of funding for us to actually do the actual like production and everything. You can't follow it because we actually sold the company now. We exited the company so that we could all focus on developing other skills to bring to the next startup. But I assume that's what you're talking about, Melis. But once the new stuff, yeah, I mean, you can still find it now. It's just the people we sold it to, they're doing their own thing now, so we don't have any jurisdiction over like what kind of goes on there. But it's called Shiranoku, so I'll type it in the chat for you guys. So we built this thing. So if you just, it's like all over. You'll find it everywhere. But we've got 4 minutes until we begin, boys. 18 viewers. Welcome, welcome. Am I part of the PAM setup? I know Reza is doing that mainly. But no, I'm not. I'm not helping out on that. I'm helping out on a lot of other stuff, but not the PAM at the moment. So I don't know what's going on in that kind of front. There's a lot of interesting stuff coming out for DVS though. Like, we always want to push out more content. Yeah, I've got no idea, man. Right, we're nearly there, guys. 3 minutes. It's knowing that, like, to start on time, I have to also respect when I know people are likely going to join. So I can't just start right now. I have to wait. I have to wait for people to join. But yeah, we got 1.5 minutes left. But yeah, welcome, guys. Hope you guys had a good day. For all those who are new, welcome to the streams for the first time, where we basically do a gold breakdown, right? Analysis and education is the key words for this session, right? You have 3 trading sessions: Don, Wix, Janez. So there's no need for me to do any of that. You also have signals for all 3, right? So in that case, right, I just provide education, right? You can join membership if you want to ask questions that you will see shortly, right? People are on Zoom, fucking, like, ready to ask me the best questions of their lives. They've been prepping for this for like fucking years. So yeah, let's get into it. Cool. Welcome back. So first thing we do is we look at what happened during the day, right? We had this. I mentioned high chance you were gonna get a fake out, right? If you got a fake out, you didn't tap into these areas, right? Obviously, that was optimistic, right? But I'm understanding that now you've actually broken these lows, right? And you've come down to fill this range, right? You filled this range, but now your 4 hours respecting this top of the range. So any given point, right, you could continue to respect this. If you get a bottom wick towards these areas after showing signs of bullishness, maybe we can get buys going up, right? But if you get breakouts below these sorts of areas, 1945, you're coming down. But our analysis was you were going to come and tap 1950, right? Because we're understanding that previously with all of this is not enough liquidity for us to drive. With this liquidity, you were able to drive up to 2007, right? With this liquidity, you are only able to tap 2004, these sorts of areas again, but not enough. So for us to drive further up, you needed higher time frame liquidity, and that's what you got. So this on the weekly, on the daily, could just be a liquidity grab, right? Last time you were in these areas, right, your weekly came down all the way to this point before closing here, right? With this candle, it also came all the way down to 1944, and then it closed above 1968, right? So it's very important how the weekly is going to close, right? Each individual daily closure is important as well, but we're understanding that the weekly is the main bullish one, right? The monthly is also bullish, but if the weekly does flip, we could be looking for a sell rate to go up. Obviously, we are going into Thursday, so it's looking relatively unlikely that the weekly is going to flip, because in that case, it needs to move 400 pips, but I'm not saying it can't, right? There still is a chance for price to do that. So I think there were some pretty clean sells coming down, but we'll have a look at that later. So monthly, we understood that we have closed still within this range, right? Any given point, because you're in this range, you're going to fill the range. What is the first part of the range you're going to fill? That is going to be down to here, right? I'm expecting like around these sorts of areas to get tapped, right? If it wants to come down to fill the range. So potentially, as the month is coming down, right, you're going to see these kind of fills of this range potentially up to these sorts of areas, and then down to 1906 if it wants to, right? Because you didn't get a breakout above, so we're expecting, some sort of rangy motion like this before grabbing enough liquidity potentially to go up and then do something like that, right? So that's what we're generally looking for when it comes to lower time frames. So it does also apply to the higher time frames. Cool. So monthly, I'm bullish. We're 8 days into November, but I'm understanding that it needs a bottom, not needs a bottom wick, right? So as it's creating this bottom wick, I'm pretty happy that it's creating a bottom wick, right? Because you haven't broken these highs. So if you do flip and then break these highs, it's probably a good chance that you're going to start, retesting the highs towards these areas. But then in that case, you're going to need a flip, and then you're going to need to go up, right? Potentially a flip and also more liquidity. If the monthly only comes down to these areas, you might need more liquidity towards these sorts of areas for you to drive up. But we'll see that as it happens, right? Weekly, we just mentioned, you close respecting here, so I am very bullish for the weekly, understanding that every time you closed above here, you basically tapped into these areas, right? 2046, this one you closed above 27. This wick, right, is a daily closure above potentially, or a 4-hour closure above. You filled, right? So every time you do that, you come up to fill the entire range. So I'm expecting, with this closure, for us to go up. So this, in that case, right, this could be liquidity, right? You've come down, you tapped into 1970, right, 1969, 1970 sorts of areas. You didn't have enough liquidity to continue going up. So cool. Now you're coming down to like these liquidity areas, right? So on the weekly, right? This looks like a liquidity area, right? Somewhere around these sorts of levels. Like maybe you can put it down here as like this wick, this bottom wick here. In that case, right? Maybe we're looking for price to come down to 34. If you break 50 and you continue to coming down, right? There's a high chance you're going to tap into these sorts of areas, 34, and then you might have enough liquidities to start pushing up. So in that case, let's look at the daily now. Right, so the daily closed again, not with any real top wick, I would say, but because we closed below the range, right? At that point, I was still worried that you're gonna get a fake out, right? Because general structure, you're bullish. Now we're understanding that you've broken, you've created some level of top wick, right? On the 4-hour, it was a fake out, right? Above these sorts of areas, I think. Above here, fake out to come down. Once you started breaking these lows again, you're pretty good for sales to come down. After faking out, right? And then you got a breakout below. Cool. You should have been able to take something there if you were looking at the charts at that time. But just going back to the daily, right? You closed below most recent. You've now, you've entered this range now. I would say generally on the daily, you probably have another level towards here. Some wicks here, some respecting here, some wick here, right? So now that you've closed below and like pretty generously below, right? I'm expecting a range fill, right? And where is that, right? Just looking at just this wick first, right? Because this is probably a smaller time frame range, right? You can also see these are like, ranges as well. So I'm expecting 1944 to get tapped at some point. So if I'm expecting 1944 to get tapped, how can I get the sells to come down, right? Because this is still a massive range, right? 50 to 44, that's still like 60 pips. I'd love to catch 60 pips, right? So how can we get that, right? We got a closure below. Last time you got a closure below, you had, top wicks, sorts of these areas, but it's difficult to expect top wicks all the way back up this area because then you're filling this range back up, and then you're worried if this is a fake out to go up, and then your weekly might be looking to, close potentially doji or even like still respecting 1988. If that happens, could be looking for, a bottom wick and then flip up for the onion, right? But generally, let's go to the daily. For me, I'm bearish, right? Weekly, I know in general for the week I was bullish, but now that it's come down so far, most likely going to be bearish, right? And then 4-hour, let's have a look, right? 4-hour, if we mark up some of our ranges, that's pretty fine. It's pretty good. I'm gonna do this as another range. This is mess. I don't really want to touch it, but is there anything that can even get marked up? Maybe here. And like the rest of that, nah, fuck that. And then there was something around here. Cool. And then obviously you have some other ranges towards as you continue down, but oh,
I'm sorry, bro. Sorry.
that's all right. Don't worry about it. But essentially, right, as you come down, right, I would say your 4-hour could be respecting this. All right, so let's have a look. Let's have a look at if this even is a potential candle respecting 1950, because we understood that 1950 was going to get tapped. It's looking like a pretty strong level towards these areas, right? I would say I'm going to move this ever so slightly down. This is still matched with everything, kind of. Okay, I'm going to move it up a little bit, like around here. So, understanding that for this candle, what makes sense for me is that you close respecting, right? Then you grab some liquidity for a breakout, but this liquidity wasn't enough to fill, continue driving down. So then you got liquidity grab to come down. So this level at that point makes sense for me. The rest of it looks relatively good. You have this and this, right? So 1950. Now that you've closed respecting on the 4 hour, I'm not bearish yet, right? I'm not just gonna take a sell now, right? What I'm gonna need is potentially something that looks like a closure below, like something like this, liquidity, and then down. So this is actually a very nice mirror for us. Understanding that the next top of the range is towards around these sorts of areas. So I'm gonna be looking for sells here. Because just based on price action, right? Last time you were able to come down and fill this area, right? Like look at this, right? Before you were able to drive down to continue down towards these areas, you came up to have this top wick here, right? That's case one. Case two is this, right? You grab liquidity towards these areas. Case three and four, I guess, is like these sorts of areas, right? All of these are like times when price needed more liquidity to continue pushing down, right? So yeah, Connor, you see these cells, right? Like when you see them, it's like, oh wow, cool, they look pretty good. Um, yeah, 54 is looking good at the moment. I'm not as worried about these sorts of time frames because in this case you closed already filling 44, so that's what we're aiming to get. So once you get this wick fill and then you close towards 44, cool, maybe you can look for a reversal once it closes back above 50 and then it starts retesting, right? Look at this, right? You closed above 54, you came down to retest around 50, you could look to get some buys up, but that will happen later on. But in terms of what 54 looks like, right? It's around here. This bottom wick is pretty nice, right? These sorts of areas. Um, let's jump on the hourly. Hourly's looking pretty clean. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Might move this up just a little bit. 54.17, and then now we just look into the boxes to see what is that range that we're expecting price to potentially come up and tap, right? I'm gonna put a couple levels, so I'm moving this just up to here. Actually, just up a little bit more. So where are the boxes that I drew? Ah, yes, box. Thank you, box. 54, 56 sorts of areas. I'm going to mark 56 as well for potential pinapels, but we have to see where we tapped, right? So 56 is looking pretty clean. I'm not going to lie, right? If you do get to 54, I'm likely going to take a first position, right? Understanding that if you do get, rejection, sometimes you get it slightly even earlier, right? So I don't want to miss out on that potentially. So once it comes towards 54 levels, like once it gets into 54 on the dot, right, you're basically in the level you want to take a sell. So around 54 is pretty good, but it also kind of depends on structure. So, right, with all of this structure, right, you got closures below 50. So that's what I'm going to need first. Currently, you respected 50, right? I don't know what happened on the hourly. Actually, I looked on the 4. Okay, yeah, your hourly came down, broke, right? So in that case, currently, right, I would say your 4 hour respected, but I would say generally on the hourly, right, if you start respecting this area below 50, wick up to 54, you're breaking these highs, you're creating a top wick for this, right? And then I'm going to be looking for the sells to come down. If it starts coming this area, cool. I will also have a sell here, but again, I'm going to need structure to be formed, right? I need this and potentially like a breakout and then, to come up to grab liquidity somewhere in these areas. Take a sell, first position, maybe you won't get activated in your second, and then looking to take profit at 50, right? At least stops to break even probably towards around these areas. Anyways, there's like a mini range around these areas. There's some wicks here for kind of some level of rejection. So probably break even in around 10, 20 pips. And if it runs, right? But that's what we're looking for. But that's the sells, right? So there's also other sells we can take. Did I accidentally let you guys unmute? I'm sorry. There we go. Fantastic. But cool. Those are my sells currently. I'm understanding that if price just continues to drive, right, I'm probably also looking for sells below 43. 43, is that a good enough area for me? 43, can I tap here, below here? Where's the cleanest traffic, right? We're just understanding we want clean traffic. Here's not too bad. Mark something up first. 46. It's either going to be 46 or like closer to 44 levels. Because I'm just looking at this wick. This wick is very nice. And also once you get a closure below this, because like this is noise, right? But here, this is fantastic. So, yeah, I think if you get a closure below here, I'll probably look to take a sell as well. But there is also a prerequisite, right? So if price just ranges here, right, and then you suddenly get a closure, I'm not taking a sell. I'm going to be waiting for a top wick and then flip, right, to come down. If price does something like this, though, then we're looking for the wicks to come down, right? Cool, that's fine. So these are the kind of two scenarios, right? If price, for sells, right? So if price does something like this, trickles up, ugh, right? I hate that. Then I'm not looking for sells, right? I understand it can still come down, but I'm not looking for sells. Why? Because this is not showing that price wants to continue down, right? It's also showing that generally, you're trickling up at any given point. You could grab liquidity to start going up. So I don't want to be in the sells, but if you start closing above, 50, back into the ranges above 56, then you get a bottom wick tapping like, I don't know, like these sorts of areas. That's 46. Like once you get a closure below, or you get like a bottom wick towards these sorts of areas, I'll be looking for buys to go up. But that's if you get the structure right, range one, range two, then coming down, tapping liquidity. But if that happens, we'll see it. But currently, I would say these are my kind of sell options. In terms of buys, what can we get for buys, right? So can we get buys potentially to come up to here? Maybe. What I would need to see is like potentially you're respecting, right? And then maybe you grab like a little bit of liquidity towards these areas, or you get a breakout and then you get like a celery. I might look for the flip if you have a strong enough bottom wick to come up to these areas, because I'm understanding that this is still not bad of a trade. Like this to here is still like 30 pips. It's not small, right? But let's look on the smaller time frame to see if that even will happen. So 1950, I think this was based off like a 4 hour and daily, so I don't know what it looks like on the 15 actually. Let's have a look. It's just messy. I'm just gonna put it down here. 49. Yeah, there's a lot of noise here. I'd rather not trade the noise, I'm not gonna lie. Even though this shows clean traffic, and then most recently we also had like relatively clean traffic to come down, I would say. Yeah, so if this happens on the 15, right, you close like this, right, you have some range like this, but it's still respecting this area, right? As it's respecting this, maybe you get like a top wick. Oh, sorry, you get a breakout, right? Celery, something like this, but like in the opposite direction, right? So a bullish candle respecting, right? Something like this, but it hasn't really gone up. Then you get a bottom wick, potentially tapping these areas, or ideally to break these lows. If you break these lows, then I'll be looking to take the flip when you come above, like if you do, right? So at this point, maybe we'll look to take the flip, and that's 18 pips is our advantage point, and then potentially runners to there, but still generally very bearish. So buys will have to be like, I'll need that extra level of confirmation, because if I'm just going to take a buy like off the rip, like what's to say that this currently, right, the hourly is around these sorts of areas, what's to say that it's not actually going to just flip and just drive? This could just be a bottom wick, for us to fill the bottom wick before coming up. So if I want to take a buy now, I'll need to see a lot of like bottom wick and structure. But yeah, generally I would say, yeah, it's looking pretty clean though, guys. I'm not gonna lie. 49, right? 49. Did we tap? Yeah, we tapped even down to like 47. What does 47 look like around here? Yeah, I'm very much expecting 44 to get tapped. Every time you close below, like this case, right? I think we're mostly mirroring this structure, right? You tap below, you came down, you went straight past, so you potentially can hold runners towards 37. But like the cells to come down to 44 are clean. Like every time you broke below, right? Filled, 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 filled. Like literally every single time. Like even this one broke below, bottom wick filled into 46, right? So you like if you get a closure below 46, like look at these, right? Filled, filled, filled. Yeah. Sells below 46 is pretty good. That's what I want to say. Um, yeah. If you have liquidity already before you break out, right, then I'm looking for off the rip. So for example, you come down, right, and then you suddenly break all these highs, you come up, and then you get like a closure below, I'm off the rip to come down because I'm understanding you've already tapped into potentially some of these levels, right? Even if you don't come up to here, right? You've created top wicks breaking the structure. So let me annotate in terms of actual candles so it's slightly clearer. But let's say you get like, you know, like this is the range, right? So let's say you come down, we expect it to fill this range anyway, so I'm not going to take any trades there. But if your next candle like comes up towards these sorts of areas, right, this wick, or like I'm not expecting it to definitely come up to these areas, right? But if it does this and then you get like a closure, or maybe you get something like this, right, towards like these sorts of areas, get it respecting, and then you get maybe like a bullish candle kind of like respecting this bottom of this range, so something like this, and then you get a bearish closure below. In this case, right, I'll look for basically off the rip, but I might look for like a small top wick, and then I'll just because I want to put a sell stop. I don't want to like ideally I put a sell stop because then it's already created the top wick, and then that's one more confirmation for me that it's not going to come and create that top wick, right? If it's off the rip, then like there still is a chance that it's going to create some level of top wick, but I am going to be very aggressive with these. So even like once it taps this 46 level, I'll have a sell stop to start coming down to fill 44, which is my advantage point, and then potential runners towards 37. But that's the kind of goal, guys. Pretty straightforward analysis because price found direction, right? In this entire range, no direction. You got to break out above, right? After grabbing liquidity, this was some level of direction, but you were still in this range. Like this range is slightly cleaner to play because we haven't been in there for such a long time. But all of this, I couldn't have taken, right? Even this, to some degree, probably not. Once it starts coming down to these areas, though, like you see this is clean traffic to come down. You then got some resistance as you're tapping into 1950 because there's some some play around here. So once you break past all of it, you're pretty good to come down, I would say. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. It's not too complex today. I'm gonna mute some boys, and then we'll see what's up. So,
Oh, how are you?
yo, I am tired, but I am good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Sup, guys? I feel like yeah, you guys feel like the charts are relatively easier today, right?
Yeah, to some extent, yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking today. I was looking for the buys when we got this. What time is it? The 1 o'clock, 1 hour candle. It closed above. I was thinking, okay, if we get,
1 o'clock.
yeah,
This
that
one.
that bullish candle.
This one closed above, yeah.
Yeah. So I was looking for the buys there. If we wick down, grab liquidity when we broke the lows, but then we closed below. So
Yeah.
then I shift from like the buys liquidity instead to okay, that was a fake out.
Yeah.
Now we should be coming back down. So I
Yeah.
was looking for the sells. I was pretty confident with them. Then I just never got that top wick. so I didn't enter.
Yeah, yeah. So
And then
yeah, yeah,
in hindsight, I'm thinking, okay, well, I didn't need the top wick or the liquidity grab because that fake out was the liquidity.
yeah. This entire thing was
Um,
liquidity.
exactly, yeah. And then I got me thinking. I've sort of seen that a few times where I'm sort of not sure whether we've grabbed enough liquidity to make the move, and it's just moved anyway.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking, well, is that about sort of I need more experience understanding whether it's grabbed liquidity or not, and whether it's had enough liquidity, or could I do something sort of, I don't know if you class it as pineapples, but basically splitting the position into two, taking one off the rip, and then if it does make that top wick, taking another, and then either way, if it runs without, I've got half
yeah.
position on, and if it comes up, creates that liquidity, then I've got a second position and a better price.
Yeah, I would say everything you just said makes sense, right? Like in
Right.
terms of how to manage the position if you want to like open half of the position and then let that run or whatever. But in terms of how to identify the liquidity, right? You just drop
Mm-hmm.
because you're playing an hourly fake out, right? Potentially, right? So
Yeah.
you need to look on the smaller time frames below the hourly to see what the fuck was going on, right? So for
Mm-hmm.
example, on this hourly, let's just mark this up, right? So here,
Oh, yeah,
cool.
indeed. Especially the hourly and the
Oops.
30
Why did
minute as
that
well. So
create two
pretty much the
things?
same on the 30 minute.
Yeah, so I would say generally you had this low, right? Cool. You had a low, which was good, right? Then you created some sort of highs around here, right? But you also had some sort of like range around like here. This is kind of messy in this area. So I would say like maybe towards like here even, right? So I would say this is kind of your range. You maybe have something like around here. So like those are, oh my God, why does it do that? Oh my God, okay, it'll just make a bunch of them. But anyways, so this is what I'm like in terms of my range, this is probably it. Um, I'm understanding that, like for example, this wick here, this is probably a 5 minute range, right? You'll see this
Mm-hmm.
potentially even a 1 minute range, right? But like this wick down here, look, there's a 5 minute range in this area.
Yeah.
Cool. But as long as you understand that, that's fine. And then I would have said you were pushing up, you broke this previous like 5 15 minute structure, came up, you grabbed liquidity. So we're expecting this to push up after this faked out, right? You wouldn't be in a buy like here because you don't know if it's going to come down. You're still bearish, right? But once it came out, maybe you could have looked for some buys. I wouldn't say I was going to go for any buys until you probably broke out of 69 or like even like 73 anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But as it came down, right, you're understanding that you then broke this low. I am bearish at this point, right? You made an equal low, but you broke all of this structure, right? You had a clean push down. Um, I'm pretty bearish at this point. And then once you got this fake out, if this was how you marked up your range, you got a fake out, then you grabbed liquidity outside the range as well. And then you came down, you pushed, right? And then once you closed below this, I probably would have been like 100% off the rip here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe even like below this candle. Like I probably would have just like taken a sell as it was coming because like this is a 15, these are 15-minute candles, right? This has taken a while to play. Like from here to here, this was like 4.5 hours. This is probably your entire session, right? Right. So
Yeah.
once you break the lows, I'm understanding that you're at least gonna get this wick fill down to here. So you're probably, break even towards like, I don't know, like this 50, 58 or 57.9 or whatever it is, right? You break
Yeah.
even towards there, but like as it's breaking this wick here, you're gonna see a strong drive because this is also clean traffic after this, and it's clean traffic with a pretty decent amount, right? Like this is 14 pips, right? And then that's if that's your break even level, that's pretty good. And then I would say, yeah, like either you're off the rip after it closed below this, or you're off the rip after this wick. Like literally, you have a sell stop here, or like a sell limit. I would say it's a sell limit, right? No, sorry, sell stop.
I'll stop. Yeah.
Yeah, sell stop because you're understanding that once you break this wick, it's clean traffic down to here. Your next retracement might not come back up to these levels, right? You might get a push down to here and then retrace to here and to continue, right? So I would have probably looked for that, mainly because look, if you even just look at like the 30 and the hourly, right? you got respecting, right? And you're not breaking back up. You had these massive wick rejections. Hourly, right? You were ranging in this area, grab liquidity outside of the range, tapping into these areas. Once you got that flip to come down, pretty clean, pretty clean.
Mm. I think maybe, I don't know if this is the problem or not, but I also do find that I also get wrapped up in the lower time frame ranges as well. So I sort of find myself putting so many lines on the chart because I know
Yeah,
that, okay, this is a 15 range, this is a 5 range. So maybe because I had so many lines and so many like potential areas where I could reject that, I
yeah,
was thinking, okay, we need more ability to break those levels.
yeah. I would say generally like keep your levels towards like 30 and above, maybe
Okay.
15 sometimes to like mark up exactly where it is. Like, for example, if like on my 30 chart, right? Let's say I have these sorts of levels. 15 is going to be mainly used to just refine that.
Yeah.
But you don't want to get into like making a 5 minute level and then like trying to trade off of it, because then you need to look at a time frame which is lower than the 5 minute for like for confirmations, and then that's really difficult.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be in a higher time frame move and play, right? As it's creating that, you're looking for entries on the lower time frames. So like a 30-minute push and looking for an entry on the five, like an hourly push or an entry on the five, right? Something like that.
Yeah, and also on this one again, when I was probably looking at the 30-minute chart,
Yeah.
we got that fake out, then we closed respecting the initial um, range that we're in. It closed like just at where
Here.
the first one started. Yeah, so it closed like respecting that perfectly.
Yeah.
I think that's probably also why I was hesitant to get in the sales off the rip. So I
I
was
think it was
thinking,
off the rip here, right? You were looking for off the rip here.
no, I was looking off rip when we closed below. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I think here it's, yeah, obviously you can't because you close respecting, right? But
Yeah.
once you close below here, like you close below this, you close below this, like I'm pretty good to come down, especially after the liquidity here.
Hmm.
But yeah.
So would you recommend just sort of trying to focus on um, developing a skill and experience with identifying what's enough liquidity or not?
I think like on days like this, right, you'll watch the market move because you would have thought, okay, this I needed a top wick, right? It's
Yeah.
good that you're looking for a top wick, right? Because you're understanding that you need confirmations because you're worried, right? You want it to play out, so you need that confirmation, right? And then at this point, it's just like, literally watching the markets every like day in, day out. Like once you
Yeah.
watch the markets enough, right, you'll see, oh, okay, you broke the highs, right? So in this case, right, you created some highs, right? You created some lows. After the lows, you came up to break this high, and then you broke the low. So at that point, I'm pretty like you don't break highs, break lows, right? And it depends on the time frame. But on this 30, you made a low, you made a high. If this pushed down, right, you'd still be slightly worried because you don't have liquidity, right? But once it broke the highs, then broke the lows. That's why I said off the rip here, right?
Mm.
Because like there's no like it's rare that price, unless like for example if this closure on the 30 was like above or like above here or something, right? If it closed above back into this range, then yeah, I'd be slightly worried that this was liquidity to grab up, right? But once you had a closure below, then you had this respecting, then a closure below there, I'm pretty sure this is likely to come down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. With hindsight, obviously, as you can see it
of
now,
course, yeah.
but obviously during
Yeah,
the
yeah.
session, it's
During
like,
is definitely harder. And I would say like 100%, asking the markets for that top wick is a very good thing. It's just over time, right? When you see that the price that the markets are just going to drive without you, right? You gotta understand more of like, okay, so what is this, and like what I'm actually looking for. But in terms of experience, I wouldn't say like this was, this plays out quite often. So
mm-hmm.
if you just notice that like, you've broken the lows 30, created some highs, right? And then you broke those highs, came down, that's pretty clean. Hourly, right? You came down, you made some sort of lower low. You failed to break above. You grab liquidity above these two candles, right? So no top wick, so you grab liquidity. Then you got a closure below on the hourly. Pretty clean, right? So those two time frames alone, I would say, are pretty. And then the lower time frames also match up relatively nicely as well. a closure below here, right? Yeah, stuff like that. I think like I would have literally on the 5, I probably would have entered here. Well, actually, I took Don signal, I think, and I was looking at it. I think I literally entered here. I would have entered here anyways. I closed one at like 10. I closed half my positions at 10, and then it came out to hit break even. But like that was the position I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, the further it goes down, the more you almost want to take a position. But I was trying not to just FOMO in it, just
Yeah.
because it was going down. So it was those sort of two things that were just conflicting the whole time.
Yeah. So when you see your own analysis play out, right, you're like, oh, I can still
Yeah.
catch a bit of it,
Yeah.
right? But I would say the main thing is once it broke past to here, if you didn't get an entry and then you want to enter towards these sorts of areas again, you have to basically redo your entire analysis.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's not possible, right? I'm saying it's definitely possible, but you need to still, like, at that point, you understand, okay, have you filled the range yet? Is number one, right? Is this liquidity enough? Like, after this push down below breakout, do I now need more liquidity to drive, right? That's your second question. Number three, if this trade was to go against me, where would it go against me? So where's the stop loss, right? Where's the TP? So it's basically you do the entire analysis again just to take another position. That's what I would say. Yeah.
And as the further it goes down, that's your advantage point against more of a
Exactly.
swimmer.
Once it tapped into these areas, man, you couldn't take any trades.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Because we're understanding there's clean traffic down to here, right? But
Yeah.
once you get to here, like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah. And it shot down so quickly as well.
Oh, did it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty close.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Like, look at these. These pretty clean moves on the charts, to be honest. But yeah. All right. I think Izzy had a question. I'm just gonna try to unmute him.
Thank you. That's really, really useful.
No worries, mate.
Yo,
Yo. Yeah.
you had, I think, have this problem when you wanna mark something, it copies every time.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah. On the left side, I had this problem. You go on the left, of the chart. You see the blue thing?
Oh, this.
Yeah, right there.
Ah,
Then
nice.
it doesn't do it anymore.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. That was really annoying.
Bro, I had this so many times, bro. I was so frustrated. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when you
Yeah.
click this, right, and then you suddenly like, oh, let me just open some long positions. Oh shit.
Yeah, bro. Crazy dumb. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my question is,
Yeah.
I see what you're seeing and I understand, but I think I had like the same problem like you, Tom. I think.
Yeah.
I was like looking at the same thing, and I was not sure because when I go on the 30-minute at New York Open, I saw like price is like respecting there. If it closed below the range, I was like I could expect the top wick and it could range down. But when I see like the first 30-minute respect and then the second 30-minute grab liquidity and closed below, I was not sure if it was enough.
Yeah.
Because it was respected before.
You got that closure above, and then the next one closed respecting the range, and then that move down technically could have just been like a liquidity grab to keep the bullish.
Yeah, for sure.
Going.
I think this closure below this though was pretty good. I think you probably couldn't like if you wanted that extra confirmation, you probably don't have to take the breakout below here, but you could have. I would have definitely taken the break of this wick. And Izzy, do you understand why the break of the wick?
I feel like Don does it any time when he said like if it break this wick, it's gonna spike down a
Yeah.
little bit and fill the range. But,
Yeah.
Why?
Because do you understand why? Do you understand that price doesn't break the lows, break the highs, and then break the lows for no reason, right? So
I really, to be honest, I don't get that.
okay, so let's explain that first then. So for example, right, you're in a range. You're ranging like this, and you come down and you're here now, right? Any given point, you're bearish, right? So you're expecting it to come down and down and down, right? But if you come down, you break the lows and you break the highs, right? What are you thinking at this point?
Break the lows, break the highs.
So
If
just
it
look at
breaks
this
the
name.
first,
Just look at this chart, right? What are you expecting price to do at this point?
I feel like range.
Range where?
Right there.
Okay, so in this range here.
Yeah.
Okay, so cool. Let's say it ranged here. So at this point, where do you think price is gonna go?
I'd say it will break the lows again and then go more up.
Okay, so break the lows where? Whereabouts?
Like the range lows,
So about here.
lows of the range. Yeah,
And then you start going up, right?
yeah,
Okay, so what you just drew, right, is you ranged, came down, you changed the structure, and then you started ranging here, right? So you were creating, some range here, indicating you don't have enough liquidity to break above. Then you broke all the lows, and then you broke all the highs. So you just drew this.
yeah.
You broke all the lows, then you broke all the highs. So you're bullish, right? After this,
Yes, yes.
right? So that's the same concept as this. Like if you came down, you broke some lows, right? You created a low. You came up, you broke the highs, right? These highs here. These are like 30-minute, 1 hour like highs. These are some valid
Yes,
highs,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Broke the highs, and then you broke the lows. I'm expecting a spike.
Damn.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's basically it. You explained it yourself here. You have the knowledge. It's just like tweaking it so that it makes sense for you in this context. But you know it.
Yeah.
You know it.
Okay, okay.
And that's why we take, for me, right, at least, I like taking the break of wicks because once it does that, you can expect the next push. Because first of all, you've grabbed liquidity, right? So you've done this,
Yes.
you've grabbed liquidity. Once you break this, I'm expecting a lower low to be made, right? And that lower low, I don't know where it's going to go. I expect it, the next kind of resistance area to be here. So once it taps here, then I'm like kind of worried. That's why I'm going stops to break even, right? But I'm expecting this push to be clean. That's why Don keeps saying like, and we always say like, once you break these lows, should spike. I think previously, right, like when price was all-time highs here, we were like, oh, okay, if it breaks this high, it's gonna spike. And then like it broke it once and it didn't really spike, but it didn't have enough liquidity, I guess. But that's kind of what we were looking for constantly. Like once it breaks highs or lows after previously breaking structure, then that's what we like expect. But yeah.
Is this more valid because we made that low and then we made our first high, we got two bearish candle closes. We then broke that high again and then broke the original low.
Yeah, so let's just do this little bit here, right? Let's just do an analysis for this, starting on the 4 hour, right? 4 hour, I think is this structure here, right? This tiny bit. So I just need one line on the 4 hour, and it's this. You respected, right? So at any given point, I'm expecting it to come down. You have a 4 hour top wick, breaking these highs to come down. I'm bearish. You closed, let's say you closed respecting here, cool, right? I'm expecting this to be enough liquidity for us to fill the range, right? Let's go down to the hourly. Your hourly also respected these sorts of areas. You had a low towards, like, you were pushing up, right? And then you started breaking this low, and then this wick also broke this wick, right? All of these lows. So I'm bearish now because it's looking like you want to come down. But do we have enough liquidity, right? Not necessarily. And then once you broke these highs on the hourly, wow, okay, cool. Once you get a breakout, I'm looking for that position, right? That's what I'm looking for anyways on the hourly, right? So if we replay back to here, at this point, I'm like, okay, it looks like, even with like no top wick, no bottom wick, right? No top wick, and it closed like this, it's showing it just really wants to push down, like aggressively, right? You broke these lows so aggressively. I am expecting a top wick for this candle though, right? Before it's able to come down. So you came up and then you kind of just, closed respecting again. Next candle came down, bearish, right? Have a bottom wick, you still in this range, cool, nothing's really happened. Next candle broke the highs, created a top wick, closed respecting the entire range, has no bottom wick. So what does this candle show you? This candle, this 1 hour candle, you can separate into 4 candles, right, on the 15. Let me just draw that. So this candle here, no bottom wick, right? So it's this. Something like this, right? So it's starting that retracement, but you've overall closed below, right? Below here. So what does this look like on the 15?
Like a fake out.
Right. Looks like a fake out, right? Top wick, fake out. We're expecting it to fill the range down to here, right? So as you're creating that, right, you could also be looking for top wick come down. So I don't know what the next hourly did at this point, but let me just, oh, sorry, I want to keep that. No. But at this point, cool. Potentially you got a lower time frame fake out to come back into range. I'm expecting a fill of the range, right? So as this filled the range, cool. You filled the range. You broke past the range after grabbing liquidity. At this point, I am bearish, very bearish. But I'm understanding there's still a wick around here. So I would have probably put a sell stop right here. Does that make sense as I break it down like candle by candle?
Can you go on the 15-minute, Elvin?
Yeah. So let's do a replay of the 15 as we're here. All right. So we closed here, and then we, next candle came down, created a top wick, and it started pushing up. Cool. You're respecting at this point. So maybe you're a bit bearish, right? You could be looking for positions, but I'm expecting if you want to break these lows, you probably need a little bit more liquidity after this massive push, right? Next candle came up as well. You're still respecting, I would say overall, like maybe around like these areas here, or like potentially even in these areas on the 64, like towards these areas. Maybe I would put it like, because I also see a wick here, so I'm kind of expecting it to be maybe like these areas. Let's have a look to see what it is actually on the 5. We'd like to identify it on like most time frames. So 30, like the 30 looks the cleaner one, right? Like it looks to be above these potentially, because you have this wick, these wicks, right? You respect it here. So let's look left. Okay, fantastic, right? 1965 looks like a pretty strong level. This is why you use left information to your left to kind of determine that. But let's go back to the 15 now. Cool. So next candle, cool. We're kind of still pushing up, no top wick here, and then you closed. You spiked up right to the top of the range, right? Still closed, kind of like respecting. Next candle, basically the same thing. Then you got what seemed like a pretty aggressive break of the lows, right? Break of the lows. Can you look for a buy? No, because you filled the range, right? But you potentially could look for sells once this creates a top wick and it starts coming down, right? That's what I'm looking for right now as this is happening. Next candle came back up because you had no bottom wick there, so it's probably going to retrace a little bit as its first motion. Comes down again maybe, and then starts respecting this area, potentially on the 5 on 1962. As you get that, wow. All right, so cool. Let's mark this up as another support. As you get that, right? So you're in this range, right? You closed below. This, like on the 15, maybe you're bullish, maybe you're bearish, right? I'm not too sure at the moment, but if you look on the 30 and everything that we just broke down, you're still bearish, right? Understanding this, and also general bearishness. Then you get a closure back into the range. This fake out, closure back in the range with a bottom wick. I'm expecting this to fill this range anyways, down 62, but it's a little bit too small. I can't take it, right? Then you come back up, right? You also then respect this top of the range at 65. You tapped, rejected off of it. Your next candle, bullish, no top wick. No top wick on this candle, right? Came back up to these areas, right? Probably couldn't have taken anything. You're still in the range. Understanding that this, if it was, this could be, you know, a bullish going up. And you start closing back into this range. You're closing down. You close below here on the 15. Oh, sorry, you close respecting. No trades, right? You also wick didn't break the low. This then closed below. I'm now very interested in the sells because you broke all these highs. You respected this area after faking out. Came down, probably would have had sell stop here. Same idea.
Can you go? Can you? I think you know you House. I think he took the fake out, and I asked him about it. You know.
Hus took the fake out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty valid as well. Like at this point, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think if you took the fake out, right, the only issue is like the range left to fill here is only like 10 pips. So you'd have to be very aggressive with it because you had a pretty aggressive fake out, right? I'm expecting this to happen, right?
I think it was not on the 15. It was I think on the 30.
Okay.
On the 30. I was not even sure, but it was there.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, right? Like, if you took a fake out, fake outs are fine. I would have said this fake out came a little bit too far into my range. I said if it kind of like ended up around these areas, like 64, like breaking this back into these areas, right? I'd like it to break into 63 into these areas, but like it's now broken down to like the very like if it came down to like, you know, somewhere like this, 53.9, then we have 15 pips to play with, then maybe. Like I wanna catch like catching 10 pips in like a 100 pip range is easier than catching 10 pips in a 10 pip range.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I would have just maybe not have taken that. But once you got this closure below, yeah, break of the wick straight in.
Oh, yeah. Well, last question from my side. Where do you see buys for tomorrow?
Not at the moment, no. Oh, can I not go back?
I had like one area for myself. I wanted to ask you about it.
I can't go back to the charts, guys. Unfortunate. Yeah, what was it?
Bro.
It's right. I'll mark it up. Don't worry. I'll do it now. Actually, like, just give me like 5 minutes. It should be. It's pretty sure. What do we base it off of? The 4 hour. 50 here. Closure like this. Top wick breaking. Expecting like. Yeah. Oops. And then I'm just looking at this. I'm looking at this. Looking at this. You are seeing some live personal breakdown at the moment. Yeah, this is just what I do every single time I want to look at the charts. No, I'm gonna refer back to this, and then this one is gonna be. Here's fine, I guess. Yeah, I think these are my two positions. This one might be slightly lower, like right here. Yeah, those are my two positions, guys. And then if you get a sell below, I think it's likely to be. I'm gonna say right here. Yeah, that's basically the entire analysis. I don't know how. Like, I'm pretty sure this is like pretty much exactly the same. I mean, we can watch it. Let's watch our own analysis.
Why'd you just redo it?
Because I couldn't go back to the actual charts. I did too many edits. and then I couldn't actually see it. Yeah, look, right? So there was one 54.45, 56.76, 54.4551, basically the same. 56.76 versus 78. Yeah, it's basically the same, right? And then the cells below, what was the actual, like, what was it based off of actually? Was it based off the 15 or something? I mean, maybe you can get it below here, but I mean, it's safer, I guess, below these sorts of areas. What did I have? 46.07. This one is 43, so I had it around here. 46.07, so below this. Let's have a look to see if this is valid on the 15. Okay, yeah, probably right below here. And then this is probably your advantage point. Right, so this, we're looking for this. That's your advantage point, and then it's likely going to tap down to 42 anyways, 42.6. That's like 20 pips. And then you're looking for runners potentially down to like 38, maybe 35. I would like if it comes down to 38, I'm closing full, even like potentially at like 39. But yeah, that's basically it, guys.
I have a dumb question.
There's no dumb questions, man.
Right. If you're on a so I was on a pineapple position.
Yeah.
Right. And then I moved my stops down to.
So were you in a sell or a buy?
Sell.
Okay.
It was around like 54, 56, down to 50 was what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what happened? It went down. I moved my stops to break even on the original position.
So which candle was it?
Let me check.
I'm just gonna go on.
5 o'clock candle on the 30s.
So here, you got into a sell towards like these areas, 56.
Well, I got into one off rip on because it broke the level that I had.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Into a level, and then I had a pineapple at like 56. Yeah.
Okay, so that's wrong one. Jesus. Okay, let's just say you had a position here, and then you had another position like here, right?
Yeah.
Where was your stop loss?
I have no idea where it was.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Probably above, like probably like 58. Say.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Just eyeballing it now.
Yeah.
But then I moved the stops all the way down to the first entry position.
Yeah. When? So after this candle?
It came down and then it came back up and tapped that level.
These areas, right? You probably got hit break even here.
So, but my question is, should I have moved it to break even total, like net break even? So like halfway between the
here.
positions, because then it wouldn't have tapped it out.
Yeah. So I would say once you got a breakout below, you did have some liquidity here, I guess. What was it looking like on the 30? The 30 clean to come down. We're expecting it to fill this range. I would say I probably would have moved stops to break even once you tapped 51. Because based off of this, right, 56 is a strong level for us, right? Because you have this wick here. You have like 56. Is there something? You have some like rejection here. You have this wick around here, right? 56 is pretty strong for us. And then once you kind of closed below and then bullish respecting with the bottom wick to fill, right? And then this next candle closed bearish also like below. I'm expecting this to come down to fill this eventually. So I would have probably let this run a little bit more. I think moving your stops to here are not like, it's not a bad thing. I wouldn't say it's a bad thing at all. Like, especially after you got this massive push down, right? After all of this range, um, maybe you're just expecting this to fill immediately, right? So you move it there, and I think that's fine, right? You still made money on the second position, right? But generally, I would like, because this was also like
Oh yeah,
5 p.m.
I mean, I closed half my positions as well. So
Okay, yeah, that's fine. But like, I think generally, like, as it's like kind of like lower volume towards like around 5 o'clock, it's moving slightly slower. I would have just probably let it play a little bit longer. Because first of all, your first confirmation that is, you're closing below. Like your higher time frames make sense. You're generally very bearish. You took a pineapple, so like at any given point, you can just close at like at break even here is good, right?
yeah, so would that have been a better place to move both the stop losses to? When you're running pineapple, this is my question. When you're running pineapples, are you moving stop loss to break it, like physically, like net break even, or break even on your let's
It
say worst
depends.
position?
Yeah, so it depends, right? If all the confirmations are in my favor still, and the pineapple position isn't a pineapple that I've taken to exit at break even, net break even, then I'm gonna let this run, and I'm gonna move individual positions to their own break even when that makes sense, right? But if I'm opening a pineapple position to aim to exit at break even, net break even, because it's going against me, then yes, I'll be looking to do that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like basically you can just treat it as two trades, right? If both trades confirmation wise look strong, like in the direction that you're moving, so in this case bearish, there's no reason to exit at break even, right? Because both will make you money. Like there's a high chance that both will make you money.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you live and you learn. Like legit for like some of these, like I mean, you also made a little bit, so it's fine.
Yeah, I think it was still like 30, 40 pips or something.
Yeah, I think you're.
I mean, it would have been 100, but you know.
Yeah, but it's okay. On the day that we actually get like runners, I think with the way we're evolving as well, like even like from the very beginning of these streams, we've already evolved a little bit. I don't know if you guys can feel it, but like the chances of runners now compared to like a month ago or compared to 2 months ago when we started doing the wick entries with Don, the chances of runners are getting higher and higher. Because we'll get into positions, right? Like for example, these breakouts, right? Even this one, how long did this run for? Like 80. Like it's just about how we can actually look at the markets for like for kind of like what happened in the past, and then do risk management or like moving stops to break even at like the right levels. I would say a lot of the times we will get hit out break even and whatever, but we're starting to get more of a understanding of everything. So as that happens, right, we'll see. Oh, okay. There's a high chance that this position, if it already has grabbed liquidity, is going to run, and then we can identify that. But yeah.
Yeah, like today's position, I'm pretty sure Don would have let it run more if he didn't have to go.
Oh, did he have to leave? Is that why?
Yeah, he had to leave, so I'm pretty sure he just closed it.
Oh, fair.
Honestly,
I
why
don't.
not? Like why not? He wouldn't have let that position run.
I mean, as it tapped into these areas, 56, I would have like the second time, right? I think I don't know what happened exactly, but like I got hit out of break even. I guess it went down and closed below. Like as it came down a second time, and also this closed no bottom wick. I would have said he probably would have closed here anyways. It's 55.
Mm.
Yeah.
Elvis, I have like two questions
Yeah.
for you. I have right now like 1941 area for like potential buys, but I'm not sure.
41. What are
Just
you
like
basing that off of?
past data,
Yeah, bro, that doesn't
Like
help me.
I mean, I mean, when I go back on the past, I saw like price always at the
But on
same
like what
area.
time frame?
I'd say like on the 30-minute.
30-minute time frame, you saw 41. Um, like
When price came back from above, it always like between 42 and 40, 43 and 40, always there. When it came from above, it's like always rejected there and went up. I feel like.
I would say there's a lot of noise that's just kind of around in these areas. I mean, using the 30 for like these sorts of levels, like 41 is going to be a higher time frame level, right? Like in general, I'm understanding that the 4 hour is closing like this. If it is going to close below next, right, and then it wants to come down, then you probably your next buys are maybe towards like I'd say like towards these areas at 38, maybe even like 37, because like we're understanding that if it comes down to here, it's going to need more liquidity to come down, right? And it's a strong area where price previously rejected from. Um, let's say like around here. All right, so this would be my only buys, but I would still need it to like respect certain things, or close bullish, right? Like in this case, you had here, you came down, you respected, then you closed bullish above, like all of this, after printing, bullish structure. So higher chances of the liquidity grab to continue up, or if any chance, right, like if you did get a buy into here, you could look to take, this part of the move because you're expecting if price does want to come down, it needs liquidity to come down, right? So stuff like that. But I would say 38 is probably your next like strong area, because when we're expecting the sales below 45, I'm expecting it to tap into like these sorts of areas, right? So towards like 44, then like I don't know what it looks like, but yeah, so 44 and then like potentially in 42 if you're lucky, 38. But like yeah, look, 38 lines up exactly with this as well. So that would probably be my only buys. I don't see 41 at the moment as like as a very strong level.
I would just go with the higher time frame then.
Yeah.
What? How do you mean that with price? It's too close above something.
What do you mean?
Like, if I have like 38 like for an area for buy entries, why do you say it needs to close above certain areas?
Okay.
Go there.
So for example, right, let's say I don't know where the actual range is, but like okay, let's say you have this as another range above, right? So 40, 38 and whatever. So if price does this, I'm not going to be looking for a buy here, right? If price does this, ranges here, and then spikes, I'll be looking for a buy, right? If price does this, ranges here, goes up, I'll be looking for the buys, potentially the flips to go up. If price...
Because it ranges there, it broke the lows. This level, 38, is like a major level, high time frame level.
Yeah, so there's a high chance you're going to get a rejection here, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But if price goes up, below, when it's range, it's go up and then came back down.
Yeah, so if price, like, it depends what range as well, and also depends on like what you actually see. So for example, if price does this and then starts ripping down like this, yeah, slightly more difficult to get the buy, right? But for example, if in this case, if you're ranging here, and then you get a top wick, then you get here, I'll be looking for the flip to go up.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So like
Yeah.
yeah.
Alright, thanks.
Yeah, no worries. Cool. Guys, I will probably be ending it here. So, yeah. Connor, you think 38 makes sense? Yeah, 36 is pretty good. The captain, welcome. What's up?
Do you have like a way of taking notes? Because I feel like I always have a bunch of questions. It's like when it comes to Zoom, it's just like all my questions are gone. It's like I don't know if I'm not taking notes the right way. Like I take notes, but then it's like I don't think I'm doing it like in a productive way.
I think I took notes during the Miami in person, but in general, I feel like it's just something that you need to come to the charts every single day and get like you need to like submerge yourself into it. Like you need to literally bathe in this knowledge and the charts every single day and then become like one with the charts. Like you have to literally see things that are going on. You get like a feeling, of what's going on. That's what I would say. But I mean, if note taking it works for you, then yes, please go ahead to take notes. But it's difficult because you need to start drawing a bunch of charts and whatever. Maybe you can do it like on your computer and like take screenshots and then annotate, right? But yeah. Hey,
Elvis, do you mind sending me the link to the new journal?
yeah.
I tried out like opening it this morning and I didn't have access to it.
Oh, you didn't have access? I don't think anybody should have like edit access. It should just be view access.
Yeah, it just like didn't even give me the option to like edit it or anything to like make a new copy. It just said request access.
Okay, so let me send you this right now. So are you on the YouTube chat, right?
Yeah.
Right, try that link and then see, let me just...
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that works.
This one works?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, cool. Fantastic.
Hey,
I was
Elvis,
using the one that was in like Don's comments.
Yeah. What's up?
Elvis, is there like a vlog about the Miami trip?
No. I think he took like a video. He made a video for it, but he actually like didn't want to use it. I got interviewed.
He has so many videos.
Yeah, man, he just deletes a bunch of them. I don't know why. Like he asked me to do an interview for it as well, and then he just deleted it. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like it wasn't even like one interview. Like it was 3 interviews.
What the fuck?
Man. But it was definitely worth it. Like I don't know if you guys are considering coming to the like in person for London, but it's going to be very packed as well. And also to be honest, to some degree, like you're getting a lot more here as well. So depends if you guys want to come, but it'd be good to meet some of you in person.
Yeah, I hope you guys for sure.
I don't know how
I
expensive.
posted on
Later,
Yeah.
maybe in like 1 year, 2 years, I think, but right now I can't.
Yeah, but like the thing is, I don't know how expensive it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm trying to make this affordable.
I mean, if I live in London, then I no problem.
No, but like even if you live in London, right? Like I think the previous thing, like if you lived in Miami, you still had to pay $1,500 to go.
Yeah, that's different.
The captain, sorry if you've answered this previously. Is there a reason why there's no section to add links? It's just I don't use links, and I feel if you do want to, then you can add an entire column for links specifically.
If you do that, Elvis, it won't mess up anything on the spreadsheet.
As long as you do it to the right, you're fine.
Got you.
Yeah, but
To the right.
And meetup as well as just the course.
yeah, there will be a meetup for the London thing. So definitely come to the meetup. But yeah.
Good shit.
But cool, guys. I'm gonna end it here. I have to get up at like 6 tomorrow as well. So
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you, Elvis.
Yeah, no worries, guys.
Thank you, Elvis. Appreciate it.
Cheers for coming by, guys. I'll have a look to see if I can get on the streams tomorrow, but I'll try my best. I'll let you guys know close to the time. Johnny, did you have one last question, or what was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a thing of somehow I think I managed to break the spreadsheet by copying it because
Okay, take the new spreadsheet for the link here and just make another copy, and then just copy your trades over to it,
yeah.
and you should be good. But yeah, if there's any other issues, just drop it in the EvolutionDVS, and yeah, we'll have a look. But yeah, sounds good.
Just the stuff in the actual journal isn't translating to the analysis pages at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I can have a look at it. But if you just
I'll see
share,
if it fixes on this.
yeah, try, and then we'll have a look. But cool. Yeah, cheers, guys. I will see you guys
Alright,
tomorrow
cheers.
potentially.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
See you in a bit.
See you, bro.
See ya. Yeah, cheers everyone on the YouTube for joining as well. I will let you guys know as early as I can. I've got like a work thing until like maybe 9:30, 10 p.m. So I might get home at like 11 something. So I'll let you guys know. But yeah, thanks for joining the streams today. And yeah, have a good rest of the day. See you guys potentially tomorrow. Peace.